Fundamentals of Counseling Teenagers. Today is Guri Purnima. I am happy on this Guri Purnima as a teacher to address the teenagers. I saw two messages in my WhatsApp. One is the Guru. Gu means darkness, ignorance. Ru means who eradicates that darkness and gets light into the life. So this episode will get lot of light into the teenagers' life and eradicate all their misbeliefs and darkness, misunderstandings from their life. There was another SMS. Guru Purnima means Guru is Purnama. So here every teacher not only should teach their subjects but also must become a parent. Ma is here represents a parent. Whether you are a father or a mother, that parent is concerned about the total development of the child. Similarly, the teachers also should not be just concerned about the academic success of the student but the total development of the child, and particularly today we are talking about teenagers, total development of the teenagers. So I request the parents, teenagers and the teachers dealing teenagers must see this video clip and utilize these tips. Thank you. All the best. Fundamentals of Counseling Teenagers. Hello, I am Professor Vishala Patnam. Fundamentals of Counseling Teenagers. The teenager's word itself indicates that the word ending with teens is included in this stage of lifespan. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 and 19. So teenagers means we are referring to the age group of 13 to 19 years old children. During teenage, the teenagers have tremendous physical, physiological and psychological changes. That is why they encounter lot of challenges, adjustmental problems. It is not only hard for them to go through this period but also to the family members, in particular to the parents as well as the teachers in their schools and colleges. They do find it is very challenging to handle the teenagers. I would like to suggest A, B, C, D, E and F tips for the teenagers to cope up with the teenage issues and developmental changes. Let us see A, B, C, D, E, F of Counseling Teenagers. Here A stands for ambition, attitude, assessment of development, analysis, action, reassessment, actualization, altering, alternatives. B stands for balanced diet and behavior, boundaries to desires, beliefs, boldness between childhood and adulthood. C stands for concept development, creativity, confidence, concern for self-progress, cognitive abilities, abstract thinking, in particular, competition, clarity and choices, compassion, comply age appropriateness, duties, company, circumstances. D for development, discipline, development of knowledge and skills, devotion, discharge of duties, demonstrate feelings, drinking more water, disconnection with distractions, dressing sense. E here empathy, energetic, emotional maturity, efficiency, electronic media. F for fairness, family relations, friends, facing failures. During teenage, the physical, physiological, and psychological changes of teenagers are very rapid. Because of that, the teenagers, the children going through this period have to face lot of challenges, have to make lot of adjustments and face lot of criticism because of their changes in their behavior. The children passing through the age of teenage encounter lot of challenges. They are compelled to make lot of adjustments to their body, to their surroundings, and to their gender roles and responsibilities. During this period, not only teenagers encounter challenges, but the family members, in particular the parents and the teachers who deal with them, also face lot of challenges because this is a transition period. During this period, the child is going to develop into an adult. That is why it's a transition period. It's the end of childhood and entry of adulthood. So the children also have dilemma whether their children are growing up adults. That is why they have a lot of questions and a lot of doubts about themselves, about their expectations about life and their work. I would like to propose A, B, C, D, E and F solutions and tips to the teenagers in order to reduce their stress, adjustmental problems, and make their life easy and happy and comfortable. Let us see what all are there in A. The first one is A stands for me, ambition. Every teenager must have ambition that I want to be a healthy, happy and most outgoing teenager. Whether it is a boy or a girl, whether it is a daughter or a son. Second A is attitude. They must have positive attitudes. When we have positive attitudes, things do not change, but the ability, the mental mindset to adjust to the existing situation and go ahead. Teenagers must have positive attitude. When they have positive attitude, the situation does not change, but their mindset, because it changes with the positive attitude, they encounter the same situation with positivity and they go ahead by making amicable adjustment to the situation. I would like to give a simple and very interesting story to you. There was a farmer. He had a highly pampered cow. Always it was given green fresh grass to eat. One month it was not possible for the farmer as the famine struck that village. There was hardly water to drink for the animals. The farmer was offering the cow dried grass because only that he could afford. The cow started refusing it for a week and it became very weak. The farmer was very upset. Suddenly he gets an idea. He goes to the market and buys a paper green color goggles. He goes to the market and buys a green color goggles and ties it to the cow and makes it to eat the dried grass. It looks at the dried grass. For cow, it was looking green. It was so happy and started eating it. The texture was different, the taste was different. Still it looks at the grass and looks at its master, the farmer, and starts eating the grass, accepts it. So when our attitude change, things do not change, but our ability to adjust, believe that everything is all right. Once that happens, things become easier, not only for teenagers, for anyone. Another A, that is the third A, is developmental assessment of teenagers. Teenagers, mainly their growth quotient, intelligence quotient, and socio-emotional quotient. At least these 4 quotients have to be assessed. It is better to assess all the 8 components of development of teenagers, whether it is appropriate to their age or not, whether it is subnormal or normal or above normal. After the assessment, analysis has to be done. What went wrong? Why the development is below normal or just normal? Why it is not above normal? After the analysis, the teenagers and the family members must take proper action to cope up with the developmental deficits if noticed. After a period of 3 months, reassessment has to be done if the deficits are more in the development of the teenagers. If not after 3 months, at least it must be after 6 months to see that whether the action they have taken is appropriate to cope up with the situation, to improve the situation, to recover from the lacunae or deficits. After reassessment, self-actualization, they must have proper idea about their potential and also their limitations. Every teenager, girl and boy, must have a fair concept about themselves so that they can expect realistically and can cope up with the situation. So, actualization, self-actualization is another important A in teenage. Teenagers must be educated to have alternatives because situations, everything does not depend on us. It is not in our control. Many environmental influences will be there. That is why if one is not happening, another one they should be able to think of alternatives, whether about their studies or about their day-to-day work. They must think of the alternatives. In B alphabet, balanced diet and balanced behavior. As I said, in teenage, their physical growth and physiological changes are very rapid. They require more food as compared to the earlier years of life. That is why not only they must have sufficient amount of food input, but also they must have balanced diet, at least 3 to 4 meals in a day, so that they will have sufficient energy for their body building and to carry out their activities. If the food intake is less, they will have lot of health issues and behavioral issues because of weakness. Balance in the behavior. As it is a transition period, teenagers have confusion about their roles and responsibilities and also about their behavior, whether they have to behave like a child or as a grown-up adult. So here they must learn to have balance in their behavior, balance between recreation and academic activities. They also must have balance between attachment and detachment with the people in the family and outside the family, so that they will have comfortable life. B. Boundaries for their desires. In teenagers think of their educational goals, career goals. While thinking of that, they must be in their boundary orbit, thinking of their realities, what is their potential, and whatever they have, the dreams, whether their financial condition, educational opportunities will enable them to go up to that level. So, too many desires they should not have, but whenever they are having desires, they must have realistic desires so that they will be in the boundary. Anything crosses a boundary and orbit many times leads to lot of problems and challenges. Teenagers have lot of beliefs. These beliefs must be scientific, they must have scientific base, because wrong beliefs always lead to many problems. Not only lead to problems, many times they also multiply the problems and issues of the teenagers. That is why whatever the beliefs they have, they must check it scientifically whether it is appropriate belief or a good belief or a misbelief. They should not become the victims of misbeliefs. B is teenagers must be bold enough to express their problems, their feelings and their views in the family and in the school in an appropriate way. The teenagers, because of the psychological and physiological changes, they are so confused. That is why whatever the boldness they have, they think they are losing it. So they have to think that they don't lose the boldness. It is because of the so many challenges that are taking place very rapidly in their mind and in their body, that leads to confusion. So they have to understand their changes, both physical and psychological changes, to cope up with it. As teenage is a transition period from childhood to adulthood, they are in between childhood and adulthood. Many times they tend to have double standards. When it comes to the responsibility, they would say that I am a child, and when it comes to the freedom and pocket money, they tend to say that they are grown up. So teenagers must realize that they should not have double standards. They should accept that they are growing into adulthood. They have to learn to take up the responsibilities. So they are between the childhood and adulthood. That is why they have to be careful with their behavior, with their ideas, with their work when they are doing it. Under C, first comes concept development, whether it is the concept about their capacities, about their physical appearance, about their relations, about their studies, about their co-curricular activities. They must have proper concepts so that they can plan and execute easily. Creativity. Teenagers are highly creative, so they should not be lazy. As much as possible, they have to explore the resources and opportunities to present their work, to do the work in a creative way. Confidence. In general, in teenage, they tend to lose confidence because of the too many changes that take place in them. So in coping with the changes that take place in their body, in their physiology, in their mind, in their psychology, the teenagers tend to lose confidence. So once they adjust to the changes, they can retain their confidence level and can go ahead in life. So understanding their changes and adjusting to the changes is very important. In teenage, they develop from concrete operational stage to the abstract thinking. That means their mental capacities, cognitive capacities get very refined. So their imagination also works. They also can develop hypotheses. They also can understand the causes for problem and solutions for problem. So they have to exercise their cognitive capacities and try to increase it. Cognitive capacities here just do not correlate with their marks. Marks may be many times by rote memory or lot of practice. Cognitive capacities are what is their cognitive response to a situation. Teenagers must have competition with the self. That makes them better, feel better too, and that leads them to go on the right path of progress. Self competition. What was I? What am I? This what am I must be better and superior to the teenagers' what was I status. Clarity and choices. Teenagers must have clarity about their life goals, career goals, and about their studies, what type of specialization they have to do. When they have clarity, they will have proper choices. Even though they have clarity, they must have at least 5 options, choices in their life. If not first, if A does not work, B does not work, C does not work, E. So they, at least if 5 options, choices are there about their studies, about their hobbies, about their goals of career, life goals, then things will be easier for them. They must never have only one goal or one choice. Multiple choices, very, very important. Teenagers must have compassion, lot of love, affection for their self, for their family, for their school and colleges if they are in junior college, for their work. Once they have compassion, the quality of work, quality of interactions they have with people will be better. Teenagers must learn to comply with their age appropriate behavior, social roles and responsibilities. As a son and daughter, as a brother and sister, as a high school student, what are their roles and responsibilities? As per their age, they have to learn to take up that responsibility and discharge it nicely. So age appropriate, acting their age is so important. So not just celebrating birthdays, they also must know that with each passing year, their responsibility increases. They have to become more mature than what they were in the last year. The very important C is company. Teenagers must be conscious and concerned about the company they keep. If they are in good company, they are influenced in a positive way. If they are in a bad company, they are also influenced in a negative way. So already they have a lot of challenges in teenage that will be, their problems will be multiplied if their company is bad. That is why they have to be very particular in choosing in which company they stay. If the company in the class, if they don't get along with anyone and there is a lot of incompatibility with the classmates, it is better to be alone than in bad company. They must believe in it. They must become closer to the family members, siblings and other colony mates so that they can adjust with the lacuna they have in the classes, means not having compatible classmates. Another important C is circumstances. Circumstance, it depends on the circumstances we say. Circumstances are unforeseen things which happen and which are not in our control. So they have to be mentally prepared. The same life situation will not be there throughout their life. They have to mentally represent that there can be adverse circumstances, there can be very good circumstances. For both types of circumstances, they should be able to adjust. So every day the life will not be the same, that they must understand. Next alphabet is after C, D. In D, the first one comes is D for development. The teenagers must be concerned about their development. What is development? Having progressive series of changes. It is series. Every day there should be progress in their abilities, in their skills, in their knowledge, in their behavior. That matters a lot. So teenagers must focus on their development. Another connecting D is discipline. Discipline here is not just keeping quiet. Here, having a disciplined life. This disciplined life is influenced by discipline of their mind, control and management of mind, control and management of time and activities. If mind, time and activities, if the teenagers can manage very well, they can have disciplined life. When they have disciplined life, it is easy for them to reach to their any kind of goals they set for themselves. As teenagers have sharpened cognitive abilities, enhanced cognitive abilities, they must learn to acquire quality knowledge and skills. So they have to be regular to the schools and colleges, whatever they attend, and must learn it very effectively. Next D. During teenage, the mindset of the teenagers is to shirk the responsibility, not ready to take up the responsibility, but they would be ready to have the privileges, saying that when I am a grown-up child. So here they have to understand their mindset and must learn to act their age. At the 13 years, behavior, their responsibilities must be increased at the age of 14. Not just celebrating 1 year, 14th birthday from 13 to 14, but they also must take up the responsibilities in accordance to their age and social roles. They must be able to discharge their duties. That they have to keep in mind. Teenagers must learn to demonstrate their feelings. Generally, during teenage, because of these changes, the gap between parents, family members, and teenagers becomes wider. They hesitate to express their feelings. Here, they must learn to display their discomfort, they must learn to display their comfort also, they must learn to display their feelings. If they like something in the family, in the school, they must appreciate it by saying, I liked it, thank you for doing it for me. They should never hesitate to give a compliment. Similarly, they also should never hesitate to express their sad feelings, discomfort, any hurt if they have in the school or in the form. They should tell to the concerned person. They must learn to display their feelings and also the ideas. If they have fantastic ideas, they should not hesitate. They should express it freely at home as well as in the school, so that everybody gets benefit. Teenagers must remember to drink water because their routine activities are very demanding, time demanding. They have a lot of subjects to learn in the school, and they have some special coaching, their extracurricular activities and their hobbies, and at home, their as a grown-up child, some responsibilities they have to shoulder at home. So in this busyness, they tend to forget to drink sufficient water. At least they must have 3 to 4 liters of water in a day, so that they maintain good health status. With the increased cognitive abilities, teenagers get distracted to many things. So they must learn to distract, divert. They should not get attracted. They should divert their mind from those unnecessary distractions which will ruin their academic performance, which ruins their personality development. This must have good dressing sense. It should be age appropriate, activity appropriate, appropriate to the seasons and the functions and the parties they attend. They should always wear decent dresses. They should not attract people, especially bad people, because of their dressing style. So the decent dressing style, whether they're boys or girls, must be proper. And whenever they purchase clothes, they must go for a little bit loose clothes, because in teenage their body grows rapidly. So if they have just enough size, soon they outgrow the size of their clothes, and because of the tight clothes, they will have discomfort and they will not be able to use it. Even they have more dresses, they will not be use it, because everything they say, this is tight, that is tight, and unnecessarily they waste money. So teenagers must remember that they have ever growing body. That is why whenever they are purchasing clothes or giving the dress measurements to the tailors, they should see that one little bit they have loose. Within few months, those loose dresses become just fit to them. After D, next alphabet is E. E stands for here empathy. The children must have affection, concern for the family members, for the teachers, for the school management. They must have empathy. When they have empathy, they can understand, if I am mother, how will I think of it? If I am father, how will I think of it? How will I feel about it? So this empathy makes teenagers to have good perspective about the situation, and they can have cordial interactions with the people in the family, in the class, or in the school. Next is empathy. E, energetic. Teenagers must be energetic because they have so many activities to do related to the academic and non-academic work. For this energy, if they eat less, whatever the food they consume, that will be spent on only bodybuilding. Then they will not have sufficient energy to carry out their routine activities. Because of that, teenagers must have energy. This is not only physical energy, mental energy. Mental energy comes from the positive attitude, from creative thinking. Another E is emotional maturity. Teenagers must understand that they have heightened emotions, intense emotions, emotional outbursts. Small things also can make them feel very bad. And if any nice thing happen, also it makes them too happy. Too extreme emotions they express. Their emotional status, teenagers must understand. If they have emotional outburst, after that they must ask for apology of the parents, apology of the teachers or the friends, classmates. If anything happens, I was in a bad temperament, I am sorry. They should not feel guilty, and sometimes teenagers hesitate to say sorry. So they must remember that they have to accept and tell others that I have heightened emotions. Please bear with me for few years, then I'll become emotionally mature. But in spite of that, teenagers also must try to understand their emotions. Not only understanding the emotions, they must learn to manage, exhibit at a proper time, in a proper amount, those emotions. Teenagers not only understanding that their emotions are intense, but also must learn to manage them, control them, and also must learn the appropriate way of expressing those emotions. That leads to their emotional maturity. They have to make special efforts to have emotional maturity. Another E is efficiency. See, with increasing age, we must learn to become efficient because we have wisdom of experiences. So, based on the experiences, do's and don'ts, one should realize that don't should be minimized and mistakes must be minimized. The best practices should be remembered, and that should be done and carry out the routine activities and academic activities. This efficiency is very, very important. Efficiency comes from the filtration. We have to filter from our experiences. What did I do? What were the mistakes? What were the nice things in that? So one has to recall and filter from the experiences, whether it is academic work or routine life activities. The efficiency, if it is increased, one can save a lot of time. When one becomes efficient, they can save time, they also can do various kinds of work, and they also can achieve more. Always I tell my students that efficiency, to learn what is efficiency, you must have a blunt knife and a sharpened knife. And both you use it and cut the vegetables. Half kilo vegetables, same thing with a blunt knife and with a sharpened knife. You find difference. You enjoy doing the work, and also it takes less time. Same way, our senses, five senses, if they are sharpened, our efficiency increases. So here for the filtration, our sensory motor integration is very, very important. Next E is electronic media. Our generation was fortunate or unfortunate, I do not know, but we were having less distractions because TV was not there, this information technology was not there. So every time we had to depend on teachers, books. So involvement in the classrooms were more, interactions with the teachers were more. So here electronic media, because of the electronic media, you are unnecessarily exposed to most of the unwanted things. So here also again filtration comes. You must know the electronic media, for what purpose to use it, and how much you should get involved in it, and how much time you should spend on it. Too much time spending on electronic media also is dangerous for their mental health and also for their achievement. So you have to have balance between the routine activities, doing things without electronic media also. There should be balance between doing things with electronic media and without electronic media. That will enrich and enhance our capacities and knowledge. Next alphabet is F. F, for me, first F comes fairness. As teenagers are growing older, they must learn to understand what is right and what is wrong. When the wrong things go, they should not repeat it later, and also regret for doing the wrong things, must ask for the apology. And if anybody, younger siblings, if they go wrong, they should understand that one, their younger ones, and they should be fairness. So when they have fairness, automatically their moral values also increase. The person who has moral values will have peaceful life. Another important F is family relationships. Teenagers must understand that during teenage, they tend to get influenced by classmates, friends, and external forces, plus this electronic media. They must have friends, but they also must have affinity, affection, cordial relationships with the family. Lifelong, who have true love for teenagers' development and welfare, it is first the family. So the teenagers must never neglect their family members, never should be harsh with the family members. They should never move away emotionally from family members. Family relationships, the important F in teenagers. Because of these rapid changes in teenagers also tend to be rude, tend to be more emotional, unnecessarily exhibiting emotional outbursts frequently, hurting family members or getting hurt because of their heightened emotionality. It is not all. They hurt parents or family members, they also in that process get hurt, but they should sort out. Teenagers must realize that how much they want privacy, how much they want to be respected, how much they want to be understood. Similarly, family members also want that they should be respected, their suggestions should be valued by the teenagers. Whenever they hurt them, they must ask for the apology. Here, parents or teenagers should never hesitate to come closer to each other. They must not have ego clashes. Let it be known. Many times, especially parents should be a bit considerative because they are more mature. Sometimes they have to ignore teenagers' mistakes, but teenagers must have special love and affection for their parents and family members, especially if they have younger siblings. Teenagers. Another F is friends. Friends are so important in life. At any age, friends are required, but teenagers many times see their friendship through the rose tinted glasses. Actually, the classmates or friends may not be that good, but they get so much excited because of this heightened emotionality. They get carried away many times, especially with the opposite sex friends, girls and boys. They tend to have heterosexuality. Hetero means opposite. Girls and boys in teenage, they'll start showing interest in opposite sex. It is natural, it is not bad, but maintaining proper relationships, being in the orbit, how much to talk, how much to converse on cell phones, how much physical proximity they should have in carrying out the work. All these things matter a lot. So making good friends, maintaining that friendship with quality is very, very important. So they should be able to have a proper judgment of friends. Sometimes parents give them hints, clues, or sometimes friends also can. Now our friends, if you have 4 friends, 2 friends may tell that one something is wrong with this girl or with this boy, be careful. You have to just listen to that, accept, don't immediately say they are wrong, just listen to them and validate it. If something is wrong, you should be move away quietly from that friend. So maintaining friends, selection of friends, whether the boys or opposite sex, same way for the boys, girls, opposite sexes, girls, same sex friends, opposite sex friends, they should be very, very careful. Nowadays, with this advancement of electronic media, many times things go wrong if the friendship is not maintained in a proper orbit, especially physical closeness and too much spending time with the friends also influences our mind and we get trapped. That is why you have to be very careful. Another important F is failures. Facing failures is very, very important in any great person. There is no great person on this earth who have not encountered failures. Sometimes because of the environment, sometimes because of some people. It may not be because of your poor efforts. Many times our failures are because of the environmental factors. Sometimes it is because of our own inefficiency or improper efforts in that particular situation. When I say failures, failure not only in exams but in making friends, sometimes we go wrong, or in doing work, failures, or sometimes while setting the goals, unnecessarily keeping very high goals, unrealistic goals, that makes the teenagers to fail in reaching out to that goal. So that makes them to feel inadequate, to develop inferiority complex, to develop life is useless, sometimes to the extent of feeling they feel so miserable. Sometimes, why should I live? There is no question of leading life. Why should I lead life? Let me end my life. So feeling of suicides. All this come when the teenagers are unable to face the failures in any aspect of their life. That is so important. Here, the teenagers' best friends, teenagers' teachers, teenagers' parents, whenever the failure comes in teenagers, first thing is don't comment on them. If possible, hug them, ignore that matter for 2-3 days, till the teenagers settle down. Same way, whenever they face failures, teenagers must avoid meeting people. What happens, suppose on the result day, if you go out, then people keep on asking. So as much as possible, don't attend any social functions, so that you can very smartly you can avoid certain discomfort or bitter experiences of the you face if you are in that particular social groups. So facing failures is very, very important. Many times your failures, you must remember that it is not because of your inadequacies, because of not your effort, it is because of something else. I had so many students who have done so well in the exams because of something goes wrong in paper evaluation, and they become the victims of the system sometimes. So you have to be very careful. I again here make the teenagers to learn to face the failure, and must remember that every failure is a stepping stone for success. But repeated failure in the same subject, repeated failures in the same work definitely tells you that your ability, your effort is less. Failure is many times because of external factors, but it also because of the internal. Your effort is less, your preparation to do that work is less. So accept it. Don't get too much upset. When you get upset, don't get into the depression. I always tell that upset. UPSET. When you get upset because of the failure, get get up, and set your mind what went wrong, that forget. Now what best you have to do to overcome that failure. That is very important. So whenever you get upset, get up, don't sit sad condition, don't sit lazily, just get up, have good mindset and do things positive. Teenagers encounter failures, they get upset. It is natural. Parents get upset, teachers get upset, friends, best friends get upset. It is natural. But the teenagers must realize that everybody encounters some or other types of failures. But failing is natural, but after failing, getting up with lot of energy, positivity, and doing that work in which you have failed very nicely and getting success, that matters a lot. So first few failures act as stepping stones. They must act as a stepping stone for success, not repeated failures. When you are encountering repeated failures, that means you have inadequacies, your effort is less, and right time, right effort you are not taking. That is why you have to change your action. Upset. After upset, you have to do upset. Get up, and set your mind, set your goal, set your time schedule, then do that work properly. So upset here is not a negative, here up and set. You have to split that word. Get up and set your mind, set your goals, set your target, set your resources, everything properly to do that work and do it well. So I'm sure this A, B, C, D, E, F, teenagers understand nicely, and if they cope up with the teenage changes very nicely, they can have happy, healthy and most successful life. This A, B, C, D, E, F, the fundamentals of counseling to the teenagers. if the teenagers understand nicely and their family members, in particular parents and the teachers dealing with the teenagers also understand this A B C D E F nicely, they can guide teenagers nicely. Teenagers also can guide themselves nicely and come out of this transition period, which is really, with a lot of changes, lot of confusions, lot of challenges, lot of problems. They can come out of this stage of teenage with flying colors. In general, I am great fan of teenagers and young children because we can influence their mind easily, and we also can get results quickly. So as adults, as parents, as teachers, as grandparents, as uncles and aunts, it is adults' responsibility also to understand my A to F fundamentals of counseling and counsel the teenagers appropriate way by giving them dignity, respect and privacy, and meeting their all the developmental needs as much as possible in a proper way.